Well, 3 years have gone by. Yes, the sun's come up over 1,000 times. Summers and winters have cracked the mountains a bit more. The rains have brought down some of the dirt. And some babies that weren't even born before have begun talking regular sentences already. And a number of people who thought themselves right young and spry can't bound up a flight of stairs without their hearts fluttering a little. Well, that can happen in 1,000 days. Nature's been pushing and contriving in other ways too. A number of young people fell in love and got married. Yes, mountains. A bit away, a bit more. Millions of gallons of water have passed by the mill. And here and there, a new home has been set up under a roof. Most everybody in the world gets married. You know what I mean? In our town, there aren't hardly any exceptions. Most everybody in the world climbs into their graves married. Now, the first act was called the daily life. This act is called love and marriage. There's another act coming later. I reckon we can guess what that's about. So, it's 3 years later. It's 1904. It's July 7th. Morning, again, just before dawn. Only this time, it's been raining. It's been pouring and thundering. Miss Gibbs' garden there and Miss Webb's garden, drenched. All those bean poles and pea vines, drenched. Yesterday, along Main Street here, the rain looked like curtains being blown along. Looks like it could begin again any minute. Yes. I think. Wow. 5:45 for Boston. Mrs. Gibbs and Mrs. Webb down to fix breakfast just as though it were an ordinary day. Now, I don't have to point out to you in the audience that these two women that you see before you cooked 3 meals a day, one for 20 years, the other for 40, no summer vacation, raised 2 children apiece, washed, cleaned house, never a nervous breakdown. It's like what one of those Middle West poets said. You got to love life to have life, but you got to have life to love life. It's what they call a vicious circle. Here comes Heather Newsom, delivering the milk.
Come on, Bessie. Goodness.
And there's Sue Crowd, delivering the paper just like her sister before.
Morning, Heather.
Well, good morning, Sue. Anything in that paper I ought to know about?
Nothing much, except for losing about the best baseball pitcher Grover's Corners ever seen. George Gibbs.
Reckon he is.
He can hit and run bases, too.
Oh, yeah, my divine ball player.
I don't see how you can give up something like that just to get married. Would you, Heather?
Oh, I can't say, Sue. I never had no talent that way. Well, you're up early, Bill.
Just saying, if there's anything I can do to prevent the flood, that darn river's been rising all night.
Well, Sue Crowd here is all worked up because George Gibbs is retiring from baseball.
Well, that's the way it goes. Back in '84, Sue, we had a player. Even the great George Gibbs couldn't touch him. Went by the name of Anton. Went up to Maine to become a parson, I believe. Wonderful player, though. Well, Heather, how's the weather looking to you?
Oh, it ain't bad. I think maybe it'll clear right up.
Morning, Heather.
Oh, morning, Miss Gibbs.
You think it's gonna rain again?
Well, you know, it rains so heavy, I think it might clear up. How many did you need today?
Well, I'm gonna have a house full of relations, so it looks like I'll need 3 milk and 2 cream.
There we go. Oh, my husband says to tell you that we both hope they'll be very happy, Miss Gibbs. No, they will.
Well, thanks a lot. But you tell your husband I hope he can get down there to the wedding.
Oh, yes, we'll be there. We'll be there if we can. Morning, Miss Webb.
Morning, Mrs. Newsom. I told you 4 quarts of milk, but I hope you can spare me enough.
Oh, yes, and 2 cream.
counting on seeing you at the wedding.
Oh, yes. Couldn't miss that. No, wouldn't miss that. Come on, Bessie.
Well, Ma, the day has come. You're losing one of your chicks.
Frank Gibbs, don't you say another word. I feel like crying every minute.
Well, the groom's upstairs shaving. Only problem is there's not an awful lot there to shave. He's humming and singing like he's glad to leave us, Ma. But then every now and then he'll turn and look in the mirror and go, I do. That doesn't sound very convincing to me.
I declare, Frank, I don't know how they're going to get along. I mean, I've arranged his things for him and seen to it that he had warm clothes to put on. And well, they're just too young. Emily's not going to think of such things. And he'll catch his death of cold within a week.
Julia, I remembered my wedding morning.
No, don't start that, Frank Gibbs.
I was the scariest young fella in the whole state of New Hampshire. I thought I'd make a mistake for sure. But when I saw you walking down that aisle, I thought you were the prettiest girl that I'd ever seen. Only problem is, I'd never seen you before. There I was in the congregational church, marrying a total stranger.
And how do you think I felt? Weddings are perfectly awful things, Frank. Farces, that's what they are. Here. Made you something.
What, Julia Carson? French toast.
Well, it ain't hard to make. I just had to do something.
How'd you sleep last night, Julia?
Well, I heard a lot of owls struck off.
Yes, I get a shock every time I think of that George setting out to be a family man. That great gangling thing. Julia, I tell you, there's nothing more frightening in the world than a son. The relation between a father and his son is the darkest, the awkwardest.
Well, mother and daughter's no picnic, let me tell you.
They'll have a lot of troubles, I suppose, and that's none of our business. Everybody's entitled to their own troubles.
Yeah. Yes. People are meant to go through life 2 by 2. It ain't natural to be lonesome.
Julia, you know one of the things I was scared of when I married you?
Oh, go on with you.
I was afraid that we wouldn't have enough material lasting more than a few weeks. I was afraid that we'd run out and eat our meals in total silence, and that's a fact. But Julia, you and I have been conversing over 20 years now without no noticeable barren spells.
Well, good weather, bad weather, it ain't very choice, but I always find something to say. All right now, have you heard Rebecca Stern about it there?
No, only day of the year that Rebecca's not minding everybody's business upstairs. She's hiding in her room. I think she's crying.
Oh, good Lord, this has got to stop. Rebecca! Rebecca, come and get your breakfast.
Good morning, everybody. Only 5 more hours to live.
George Gibbs, where are you going?
Just stepped across the grass to see my girl.
Now you put on your overshoes. It is raining torrents out there, and you won't leave my house without you're prepared for it.
Oh, Ma, it's just a step.
George, you'll catch your death and cold and cough all the way to the surface.
George, do as your mother tells you.
Now, from tomorrow on, you can kill yourself in all weathers. But while you're in my house, you'll live wisely, thank you. And maybe if Mrs. Webb isn't used to callers at 7 in the morning. Here, at least drink your coffee first.
Be back in a minute. Good morning, Mother Webb.
Oh, goodness. You frightened me, George. Now, George, you've been coming out of the wedding. No, I can't ask you in. Why not? George, you know as well as I do that the groom can't see the bride before he sees her in church.
Oh, that's just superstition. Good morning, Miss Webb.
Good morning, George.
Miss Webb, do you don't believe in that superstition, do you?
There's a lot of common sense in some superstitions, George.
Millions have followed it, George, and you don't want to be the first to fly in the face of custom.
How's Emily?
She hasn't waked up yet. Haven't heard a sound out of her.
Emily's asleep.
No wonder. We were up till all hours sewing and packing. I'll tell you what I'll do. You stay here with Mr. Webb and drink this cup of coffee, and I'll go upstairs and make sure she doesn't come down and surprise you. There's some bacon too, but don't be long about it.
Oh, George, how are you?
I'm fine. Fine. Mr. Webb, what sense could there be in a superstition like that?
Well, you see, a girl's head
head on her wedding morning is apt to be full of clothes and one thing and another. Don't you think that's probably it?
Yes. I never thought of that.
A girl's apt to be a mite nervous on her wedding day.
I just wish a fella could just get married without all that marching up and down.
Every man that's ever lived has felt that way about it, George, but it hasn't been any use. It's the women folk who've built up weddings, my boy. For a while now, the women have had it all their own. A man looks pretty small at a wedding, George. All those good women standing shoulder to shoulder, making sure the knot's tied in a mighty public way.
But you believe in it, don't you, Mr. Webb?
Oh yes, oh yes. Don't you misunderstand me, my boy. Marriage is a wonderful thing. And don't you forget that, George.
No, sir. Mr. Webb, how old were you when you got married?
Well, you see, I've been to college and I've taken a little time to get settled, but Mrs. Webb, she wasn't much older than what Emily is. Age hasn't much to do with it, George, not compared with other things.
What were you going to say, Mr. Webb?
Oh, I don't know. Was I going to say something? George, I was thinking the other night of some advice my father gave me when I got married. Charles, he said, Charles, start out early showing who's boss, he said. Best thing to do is give an order, even if it don't make sense, just so she'll learn to obey. And he said, if anything about your wife irritates you, her conversation or anything, just get up and leave the house. That'll make it clear to her, he said. And oh yes, he said, never, never let your wife know how much money you have. Never.
Well, Mr. Webb, I don't think I could.
So I took the opposite of my father's advice, and I've been happy ever since. Let that be a lesson to you, George. Never to ask advice on personal matters. George, are you going to raise chickens on your farm?
What?
Are you going to raise chickens on your farm?
Well, Uncle Luke's never been much interested, but I thought he would be.
A book came into my office the other day, George, on the philo system of raising chickens. I want you to read it. I'm thinking of beginning in a small way in the backyard, and I'm going to put an incubator in the cellar.
Charles, are you talking about that incubator again? I thought you two would be talking about things worthwhile.
Well, Myrtle, if you want to give the boys some good advice, I'll go upstairs and leave you alone with them.
George, Emily's got to come downstairs and eat her breakfast. She sends you her love, but she doesn't want to lay eyes on you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Myrtle, haven't you ever heard of that old superstition?
What do you mean, Charles?
Since the cavemen, no bridegroom should see his father-in-law on the day of the wedding, or near it. Now remember that.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Webb. Now I have to interrupt again here. You see, we want to know how all of this began. This wedding, this plan to spend a lifetime together. I'm awfully interested in how big things like that begin. You know how it is. You're 21 or 22 and you make some decisions and then whoosh, you're 70 years old. You've been a lawyer for 50 years and that white-haired lady at your side has eaten over 50,000 meals with you. How do such things begin? Well, George and Emily are going to show you now the conversation they had when they first knew that as the saying goes, they were meant for one another. But before they do, I want you to try and remember what it was like to have been very young, and particularly when you were first in love. You were like a person sleepwalking and you didn't quite see the street you were in, and you didn't quite hear everything that was said to you, and you're just a little bit crazy. Remember that, please? Now, they'll be coming out of high school at 3 o'clock, and it's just after commencement, and it's June, excuse me. Yeah, George has just been elected president of the junior class, and as it's June, that means he's going to be president of the senior class all of next year. And Emily was elected secretary and treasurer. And I don't have to tell you how important that is. Yeah? They're coming down Main Street now.
I can't, Louise. I have to go home. Goodbye. Oh, Ernestine, can
It isn't far.
Excuse me a moment, Emily. Say, Bob, if I'm a little late, start practice anyway, and give her some long highways.
Goodbye, Lizzie.
Bye, Lizzie. I'm awfully glad you're related to Emily.
Thank you.
Emily, why are you mad at me?
I'm not mad at you.
But you've been treating me so funny lately.
Well, since you asked straight out, George, I might as well tell you the truth. Oh, goodbye, Miss Corcoran.
Goodbye, Miss Corcoran. What is it?
I don't like the whole change that's come over you the past year. I'm sorry if it hurts your feelings, but I have to tell the truth and shame the devil.
A change? What do you mean?
Well, up until a year ago, I used to like you a lot, and I used to watch as you did everything. Because we'd been such good friends. And then you began spending all of your time at baseball. And you never stopped to talk to anyone anymore, George, not even to your own family. And it's a fact. You got awful conceited and stuck up, and all the girls say so. They may not say so to your face, but they say so about you behind your back. And it hurts me to hear them say it, but I have to agree with them. No, I'm sorry if it hurts your feelings, but I can't be sorry that I said it.
I'm glad you said it, Emily. I never thought that such a thing was happening to me. I guess it's hard for a fellow not to have faults creep into his character.
Well, I think that a man should be perfect, and I expect him to be so.
I don't think it's possible to be perfect, Emily.
Well, my father is, and as far as I can tell, your father is. There's no reason why you shouldn't be too.
Well, I feel that it's the other way around, that men aren't naturally good, but girls are.
Well, you might as well know right now that I'm not perfect. I mean, it's not as easy for a girl to be perfect as a man because we girls are more nervous. No, I'm sorry I said all that about you. I don't know what made me say it.
Emily.
No, now I can tell that it's not even true, and it just doesn't even seem important anyways.
Emily, would you like an ice cream soda or something before you go home?
Well, I would. Thank you.
Hello, Stu. How are you? Good afternoon, Mrs. Sullivan.
Hello, George. Hello, Emily. What do you have? Why, Emily Webb, what have you been crying about?
She just got an awful scare this morning. She almost got ran over by a hardware store wagon. You know, everyone says that Tom Hunkins drives like a crazy man.
Well, now, you take a drink of water, Emily. You look all shook up. I tell you, you got to look both ways when you cross Main Street these days. It's getting worse every year. Now, what do you have?
I'll have a strawberry phosphate. Thank you, Mr. Morgan.
No, Emily. Have an ice cream soda with me. 2 strawberry ice cream sodas, Miss Morgan.
2 ice cream strawberry sodas. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I tell you, there are 125 horses in Grover's Corners this minute I'm talking to you. State inspector was in here the other day. They're going to be bringing in these automobiles. I tell you, the best thing to do is just stay at home. Why, I can remember when a dog could lay down in the middle of Main Street all day and nothing come along to disturb him. Well, there you go. Enjoy him. Mrs. Ellis, yes, what can I do for you?
Gosh, they're so expensive.
No, don't think of that. We're celebrating our election.